Baseball is of course America's pastime, but when you're thinking of putting entertainment to the mix, then you're talking about the Savannah Bananas themselves. They're taking the country by storm with their own baseballs through the Banana Bowl, which was transformed from an intra-squad exhibition experiment to its own league of 6 teams including the eponymous team. Even so, it's while we were the party animals and the eventual BBCL teams has just gone off the ground with more tense on the field and more fun on the amusement. But how does all of this begin? Well, it's time to answer that question. I'm Duncan Nichols, and since there are a couple of videos about a certain topic, this is my own take on how the Savannah Bananas started off from a collegiate summer baseball team to where they're putting its fans first today. So, let's start the clock from here. Minor League Baseball in Savannah can be traced back to 1884 when the Savannah Dixies, who played their lone season as members of the independent Georgia State League alongside the Savannah Oglethorpes. There were 2 teams played in the Southern League of Colorado Baseballers in 1886 in Savannah, but only first season. These were the Browns and the Lafayettes. From that year until 1887, 1893 to 1894, and then 1898, the Savannah-based team played in the Southern League, where they played as just simply Savannah, Savannah Electrics, and then the Savannah Modocs. By 1904, the South Atlantic League had its team in Savannah through the Pathfinders. It was renamed to the Indians in 1906, then by the Colts in 1914, and voted a year later. It was revived in 1926 as the Indians again won in the Southeastern League and played for 2 seasons before folding. They returned to the SAL, also known as the Sally League, for their second, third, and fourth ones between 1936 and 1942, from 1946 until 1960, and in 1962 respectively. The Indians renamed to the Athletics by 1955, then the year later was either the Redlegs or the Wicks depending on your source, and in 1960 as the Pirates. On the fourth and final one in the Sally League, they were known as the Savannah White Sox, named after their then MLB affiliated Chicago White Sox and shared some games in Lynchburg. The Indians made their final turn, now participating in the Southern League, and as a double-A team in 1968 as the Senators, named after the second iteration of the Washington Senators, which was their major league affiliate before they switched to the Houston Astros a year later. By 1970, they returned to the Indians, with the Cleveland Indians as their MLB affiliate, but they ended their story by folding the team at the end of the season. Throughout 4 minor league classes and 3 leagues, the Indians have made 7 championships. In 1971, the Southern League brought a new team in Savannah, known as the Braves, named after their Atlanta MLB affiliate. The Braves were then relocated to Greenville, South Carolina in 1984, then to Pearl, Mississippi in 2005, and since 2025, they're currently playing in Columbus, Georgia as the Clingstones. Soon after, the Savannah Cardinals began playing in the South Atlantic League starting in 1984 after moving from Macon, in which they became the Sand Gnats in 1995 and won 4 league titles and 2 division titles during their time in Savannah. Unfortunately, the Sand Gnats left Savannah for Columbia, South Carolina to become the Columbia Fireflies, which was officially announced on September 19, 2015. Hardball Capital, the owners of the Sand Gnats, were considering staying in Savannah but opted to move the franchise to the Soda City after being unable to reach an agreement with the city to build a new stadium to replace the historic Grayson Stadium, which was their home stadium and where most of the other Savannah minor league teams used to play there. We already owned the Savannah team, and we had a relationship with the city. We were trying to build a new ballpark down there, and we had owned the team for quite a few years. We knew that it would benefit the city and the team if we could build a new stadium, said Abby Nass, the Vice President of Marketing and Public Relations for the Fireflies at that time. She added, "It didn't actually work out, and so we ended up getting our relationship with the City of Columbia and getting a new facility here." As a result, the Sand Gnats played their final game against the Asheville Tourists in the SAL playoffs on September 12th, where Asheville won 2-1 at Grayson Stadium, which led them to the final. The Fireflies then switched to the Carolina League, then temporarily renamed to the Low A East in 2021, in which they are currently playing there. Because of this, on September 22nd, 2015, the Coastal Plain League, which is a collegiate baseball league that had 15 teams at that time across Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, announced Savannah as its newest team to begin play the following year, where it will be owned by Jesse Coles' Fans First Entertainment, of whom Jesse is very important in the team's evolution. You know, the guy who wears a yellow hat and tuxedo at most times. Before he came in to lead the then unnamed team, he used to own the Gastonia Grizzlies, then relocated in 2020 to Spartanburg, another CPL team based in Gastonia, North Carolina, a city that's close to Charlotte, which have led the league in attendance the past 3 seasons, been named Organization of the Year, and recognized regionally and nationally for their unique promotions and fan experiences, where Jesse was served as a managing partner and general manager starting in 2014. During the first few months, a handful of tickets were sold by the then upcoming team, and by January of 2016, just months before the first game, the team had overdrafted their bank account. Jesse, the team owner, and his wife Emily were forced to sell their home to keep the team true. On February 25th, 2016, after the Name the Team contest, of which the Savannah Morning News sponsors, the Savannah Bananas name, logo, and colors were officially revealed, beating the Bananas name out other entries such as the Anchor, Sports, Seagulls, and the Party Animals, a name that would repurpose for their opponents a few years later. We are tremendously excited to welcome a new era of baseball to Grayson Stadium by introducing the new banana brand to the Savannah community, said Cole. He then added, after nearly 1,000 suggestions, we felt that the name Bananas was one of the most unique names and unlike any other sports team name in the country. We feel Savannah is such a unique and special city that the community deserves a unique brand that stands out. Local resident and a nurse at St. Joseph's Candler Hospital, Lynn Moses, has submitted the name Bananas into the contest. Moses said she was sitting at home reading about the name contest and the idea just came to her, stating that her team name sounded very catchy. She was recognized during the ceremony and enjoyed a free season pass to Bananas games during the whole summer. The name, though, received mixed reviews at the start, though, but will eventually be more recognized in the coming years. The sleek logo of a banana with a "Don't mess with me" expression holding a baseball bat and the usage of yellow, navy blue, green, and white colors was designed by Studio Simon, a Louisville, Kentucky-based graphic design firm that has developed brands for more than 100 professional and collegiate sports teams, of which Moses praised it, and was eventually used as the team's official logo. The announcement created massive attention in the city and even made national news, being covered by CBS Sports, NBC Sports, and Sports Illustrated. Even the logo was named SportsCenter's Logo of the Year in 2016. The Bananas began their inaugural season with them against the home team Martinsville Mustangs on May 31st, with them against the Lexington County Blowfish on June 2nd being the first game the Bananas played as the home team at the historic Grayson Stadium, where fans met with a completely unique experience, including all-inclusive food, a senior citizen dance team called the Bananas, the first banana baby, in which it happens when the Lion King opening music plays, Spirit Fingers, and the players, of course, kneeling around a baby in a banana costume, and, of course, dancing baseball players. This level of baseball entertainment was already seen from Jesse's other CPL team that he owned, so from what I can tell, he seems to have his spirit to be reminded in his new team. Even he shifted focus to his Bananas since then. The team ended up with 30 wins, 20 losses, and as the first seed in the CPL West Division, earning home field advantage for the first 2 games of the playoffs. In Game 1, the Bananas beat the Asheville Copperheads 3-2 with the first walk-off in franchise history. Then they defeated, the Forest City Owls by 2-0 to win the CPL West Division Championship and advance to the Pettit Cup Championship. Game 1 of the championship was played at Grayson Stadium, and the Bananas defeated the Peninsula Pilots 8-4. The team then traveled to Hampton, Virginia, where the Pilots' 4-3 win, and Game 2 forced an all-or-nothing Game 3 in which the Bananas took home the Pettit Cup after a 9-7 win, and they were named the league's Organization of the Year in 2 consecutive years in both 2016 and 2017. During their inaugural season, the team broke the CPL attendance record with over 90,000 fans, including 18 sellouts, and ranked second in average attendance among 160 summer collegiate teams, as reported by Ballpark Digest. The 2017 season saw them winning 30 games and lost 25. In 2018, the Bananas were then relocated to the South Division of the league, which was then reverted back to the West Division by the 2021 season. Before the playoffs, they had 37 wins and 13 losses, and won as the South Division winner. That same year, and most importantly, the team created the alternative Banana Ball rule set and played its first intra-squad exhibition game against the Lander University Bearcats in Greenwood, Mississippi, using the format on November 2nd. Over time, the rules will change as the fans made the format more interesting, such as games are limited to just 2 hours, a point awarded to the highest scoring team each inning instead of a run, no mound visits, and a batter can steal first base, no bunting or stepping out of the batter's box, ball for sprints is what they call to the game's walks. They used to call sprints, but now it's called ball for sprints. Every defensive player needs to touch the ball before it becomes live. The hitter can advance to as many bases as they can. Players and fans can challenge and umpires must call once, having the fans catching the foul ball, which is counted as an out, and introducing 3 banana ball specific rules. The golden batter rule, in which by one time in a game, a team may send any hitter and a lineup to bat in any spot, where the goal of this rule is so a team can have their best hitter hit when the game is on the line. The equalizer point, in which if the away team has more trick plays than the home team after 8 innings, they get an extra point before the 9th and final inning. And the designated fielder rule, which is similar to the golden batter rule but on the defensive side, as any team can, for one time use in the game, send an extra or bench player to field in replacing them an active player, which those 3 were added as the rules have evolved. Other non-standard baseball activities are sometimes used for entertainment purposes, including specialty walk-ups starting from the stands, in-game dances, run celebrations, and guest hitters and pitchers, usually former major leaguers, but for the eventual Indianapolis Clowns outfielder Jackie Brown Jr. We'll talk about him in a moment. Also, before I can forget, all ties are broken by the showdowns, an abbreviated extra innings format, of which it's what they said the greatest overtime in sports, or in this case baseball, which is what it is, of which each team's half inning during the showdown ends with any out or run scored by the batter. If the batter puts the ball in play, they must attempt to score. A batter who draws a walk advances to second base, with the hitting team allowed to send a new batter to the plate. The same happens if the batter is hit by a pitch. At any point during the showdown, a home run hit over the outfield wall immediately ends the game in favor of the batting team. If the game is still tied after a round, another round is played until a winner is confirmed. Scenarios differ by showdown round. A pitcher and a hitter to face off, with the defense fielding only their pitcher, catcher, and a single fielder in round 1. The same, but no fielder in round 2, and the fielder returns in round 3, but each half inning starts with the bases loaded, and each run scored counts as a point. This also affects the ball for sprints given up, as the sprints are added during this point, though, as runners are added in for either teams, with 3 consecutive sprints determine the walk-off victory by either team. In 2019 CPL, the Bananas had 35 wins and 15 losses and became the South Division winner for the 2nd time in a row, but didn't make it to the Pettit Cup Championship. And as the banana ball format became more popular, the CPL team played their first official home game with the banana ball rules on June 26, 2020 at Grayson Stadium, while playing away games under the standard CPL rules. At this point, all of the games the CPL Bananas playing as their home team and Grayson Stadium were played with the banana ball rules. The 2020 season, which had 17 teams playing including the Bananas, had 27 games won by the Bananas, with them losing 15. And also importantly, in the same year, the Party Animals, a name considered for the then new Savannah CPL team during the Name the Team contest, was introduced as the opponent in banana ball games, which gave the Bananas a true home or away opponent in its exhibition game days during most of the season, which sounds similar to the rivalry of the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals. Now, unlike Globetrotter basketball exhibitions, the teams are more even, and sometimes both teams have won their respective games against each other. The Party Animals wear black or pink uniforms and made their debut on July 21st that year. In 2021, the team side Dakota Appleton, nicknamed Stilts, and dubbed the world's tallest baseball player and the tallest pitcher in the world, as he stands 10'9" on stilts and plays the field, bats, and pitches all on stilts. He became one of the team's most recognized players. That same year, the Bananas announced their first quote-unquote world tour called the One City World Tour, where they first stopped to Savannah and then traveled to Mobile, Alabama from March 26 to 27 in Hank Aaron Stadium with a combined crowd of over 7,000 fans, in which all 4 games were instant sellouts. The Bananas won the first and last games in the tour, while the Animals won the other 2. A year later, though, a 14-game world tour would expand into 5 more cities, namely Daytona Beach, Montgomery, West Palm Beach, Columbus, and Birmingham, with the first game played at a historic Grayson Stadium on March 11 and ended on April 28, when all games were instant sellouts. While most banana ball games featured the Bananas playing against the Party Animals, the former then introduced a Challenger Series, in which they played against a different opponent. The first such series was played between May 5th and 6th at Legends Field in Kansas City against the Kansas City Monarchs of the American Association of professional football and saw each team win one game. 2022 was also the year the Banana Bowl made its national television debut through a 6-game agreement with ESPN, with one game aired on August 19 on ESPN2 and the others on ESPN+. Now back to the CPL, the 2021 season saw them winning 36 games and lost 8, while the 2022 season had 34 wins and 14 losses. And after winning 2 back-to-back CPL Pettit Cups, one on August 7, 2021 by beating the Moorhead City Marshals in a 2-1 series, and another on August 5, 2022 as they defeat the Wilson Tops 2-0, the Bananas announced on August 24, 2022 that they were folding their collegiate amateur team in the CPL and will now focus on playing in the Banana Bowl both in Savannah and across the United States as the Barnstorming team. Jesse Cole, the team's owner, noted that this distinction where the Bananas were effectively 2 different teams playing with 2 different roles, one for the CPL and one exclusively to Banana Bowl, confused fans who might not know what to expect at a game, which explains this change. The 2023 World Tour was expanded to over 80 games, with the Bananas implementing their new exhibition-only status. The tour started at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches and West Palm Beach, Florida on February 17th and ended several months later on September 16th, where the Pony Animals won the tour with their 9-game winning streak at Doubleday Field in Cooperstown, New York, which is where the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is located, of which it reviewed a special exhibit related to the Banana Bowl day prior. It included numerous challenger games against teams such as the Charleston Dirty Birds, Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, Florence Yaws, the MLB Players Alumni Association, and a rematch with the Kansas City Monarchs. Additionally, the Bananas played their first international opponent, the Aussie Drop Bears, an Australian-based baseball team composed of mostly Aussie professional and collegiate baseball players, and a couple of Americans, which happened on June 9th. At this point, the Party Animals were fleshed out as a more permanent team with its own slate of games without the involvement of the Bananas. The tour did air on ESPN2 for a game, with 2 on ESPN Plus as part of the broadcasting, which returned from last year. Now, during the 2023 World Tour, former Lander University outfielder first baseman Vincent DeRubay, who transferred to Lander from the University of Bridgeport after the COVID-19 pandemic, joined the Bananas for a season after losing his left eye to an injury during his final season at Lander a year earlier, but a torn labrum and surgery paused his time after the end of the season, and he wasn't returned for the following season. Also, during the tour, Jocelyn Ale became the first woman to play the Bananas, getting an at-bat in one game. I just note, I just realized that Matt Rose's wife was actually the first woman to play for, the Bananas, and even in Banana Bowl, all of its whatever this thing is, but I don't understand what's going on in me, but I just realized that. So whatever is going on right now, let's just move on. Historically, the first ever fan challenge in the history of sports, of which it gives a fan the opportunity to challenge a player for either team at any point of the game, took place on June 2nd at First Horizon Park in Nashville. On October 5th, 2023, during the 2024 season draft, of course, the Firefighters were introduced and joined the Bananas and the Party Animals as the third pre-existing team in the Banana Bowl. The team usually wear firefighter team uniforms, including fire helmets, and the name was dedicated to bringing honor to that name, with former firefighter Valerie Perez leading the team as the coach. Now, the 2024 World Tour kicked off at George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida on February 8th and ended 8 months later at Lone Depot Park in Miami, followed by a show on a cruise ship to the Bahamas called Banana Land at Sea, which ran from October 14th until the 18th. The tour also included 5 other MLB ballparks: Minute Maid Park in Houston, which is the first MLB stadium where a Banana Bowl game was played, which happened on March 9th, Fenway Park in Boston, Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, and Progressive Field in Cleveland. Yep, Lone Depot Parks are also an MLB stadium, so you get the point. This season significantly expanded the Bananas' TV coverage, as in April, they announced that 19 games would air on Stadium and Valley Live. 3 months later, they announced a 5-game agreement with ESPN. For the first time, 3 games aired on ESPN, with 2 others airing on ESPN2 as part of the annual ESPN 8 Ultra event. A month later, the Bananas announced an agreement with TNT Sports to exclusively air 5 games on True TV. During that period, in June 2024, the visitors were introduced as the opponents for the Party Animals or Bananas in certain games. where the other team faces the Firefighters, or since the 2025 season, the Texas Tailgaters on rare occasions. The visitors wore generic gray uniforms with blue numbering, with no names on the back of their jerseys, and constituted the developmental wing of the Bananas organization, but that was phased out in 2026 as the franchise was split into two teams that will be explained a little later. That same year, the Party Animals introduced their mascot, Party, a monkey with a party hat and glasses, which was nicknamed the most gaseous mascot in all of sports by WJCL 22 News. Alo, who you remember from where she made an at-bat last year, joined the Bananas in this tour as the first female member of the team and signed a 1-1 contract. The 2025 tour saw the Bananas play games in 40 cities, including 3 NFL stadiums and 17 MLB stadiums. Their first game in an NFL stadium was at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, where they played in front of a sold-out crowd of 65,000. On April 26, the Bananas and the Party Animals played a game in front of 81,000 people at Clemson University's Memorial Stadium, which was the highest attendance that season. This season is also where the so-called first ever tour championship took place, of which it composes of 2 semi-final games and at least a series of 2 final games, of course, of which is won by the Party Animals that October. I guess from what I can tell, from what I can search up, I guess that's the first time in playoffs I've ever seen it, so whatever. But anyways, this season's where the Bananas announced a 10-game agreement with ESPN, and which for the first time ever, all 10 will be simulcast on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, along with airing on ESPN or ESPN2, with 2 additional games to be exclusively on ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. Other games will continue to stream on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. In July, the Bananas announced 1-game agreements with the Roku channel and the CW. The game on the latter, though, was the first time a Bananas game has aired on over-the-air television. Later that month, the Bananas announced an agreement with TNT Sports to air 19 games on truTV and HBO Max beginning August 16th. For the first time, this agreement also includes the championship. This year also introduces the Texas Tailgaters, and which, despite the name, the team is currently based in Savannah, but it hosted home games in either Texas and Oklahoma since their inaugural season, unlike the Firefighters, whose first season was as opponents of either the Bananas or Party Animals and not as a home team. The Tailgaters are the first semi-regional team to debut since the original Bananas. In addition to the Texas headlining tour, the Tailgaters' first season was also successfully held with games across the country against the 3 other league teams. They were elements of the Texas state flag, colors, and their uniform jerseys. And yes, their mascot is a Tailgater, I guess. And sort of form alligator, but whatever. 2025 was also the year that the Bananas have signed Kelsey Whitmore, one of the highest profile professional women baseball players, in August 1st. She eventually made her debut that weekend in Baltimore at Camden Yards against the Firefighters. Now, during that season, Whitmore played at 8 MLB stadiums, including pitching in front of a home crowd at Petco Park. On January 12, 2016, though, the Bananas announced that they had resigned Whitmore to pitch for them, while also being able to play for the San Francisco team in the upcoming Women's Pro Baseball League and or Team USA if she chooses to, and whenever she's not with those organizations, she'll stick with the Bananas. The 2026 World Tour, now built as what they said the first annual Banana Bowl Championship League, which began on February 26, 2026 with the Firefighters against the local Beach Coconuts at Mike Martin Field at Dick Howser Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida, which is at the campus of the Florida State University, and is scheduled to end on October 1st with the game in historic Grayson Stadium. We'll have games at 75 stadiums and 45 stadiums in front of over 3.2 million fans, and the debut of 2 new teams that replace the visitors. Now, speaking of the latter team in the first game and wearing their tropical and beach team uniforms, and somehow has when they're entertaining, sometimes they even play some songs from the Teen Beach movie franchise, so that's off topic. But anyways, the local Beach Coconuts are one of them, managed and coached by former MLB outfielder Shane Victorino. The team has a beach team with the mascot Coco the Coconut, whom the team debuted during the 2026 Banana Land at Sea Cruise Show. The cruise also saw the debut of a secondary mascot, Peter Colada, who is a parrot, making the team the first in the league to have two mascots instead of just one, as is the case with the other four teams in the league. The other are the Indianapolis Clowns, a rival club of the same name from the Negro Leagues in partnership with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and they wear a modernized form of the old uniform jerseys of the old club. Former MLB first baseman Wyan Howard became the coach for the team, while the first full-time former major leaguer to ever play in Banana Bowl, MLB legend, former outfielder, and World Series champion Jackie Bradley Jr., an ex-Red Sox, became a part of the said organization. This season also marked the debut of the Banana Bowl Open, where the top 4 teams as of April 11 face off to get a guaranteed spot in October's BBCL playoffs, which is won by the Texas Tailgaters, which they defeated the Firefighters in the semis when they defeated the Bananas, which made the Clowns lose in that semi in a 2-0 series of the final. For those who may be wondering again, it's for the one of the 4 spots in the playoffs. So we still have to wait until October to see who will win with the championship. But for now, the Texas Tailgaters are the winners of this year's Banana Bowl Open, and they just got a spot in the playoffs, so you get the point. But anyways, more recently, it had the record for the smallest and the biggest Banana Bowl games by attendance in history on the first weekend of May in East Central Texas, where the aforementioned Tailgaters and Bananas fought each other once again at the smaller Navasota High School on Friday the 1st of May, and a day later at the larger Texas A&M's Kyle Field and College Station, with 102,000 in attendance, of which were swept by the Tailgaters. The Bananas retained the same television partners from last season for this year, while expanding the number of televised Banana Bowl games, not including the eponymous Bananas. 25 games will air on ESPN, including the first ever game to air on ABC, with all games streaming on Disney Plus and the ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming service. Additionally, TruTV and HBO Max will air 15 games, the CW will air 6, and the local channel will air 5. Now, all Banana Bowl games are also shown on YouTube on the channel of the designated home team, by the way, so you get the point. Now, as of 2025, the Bananas had more than 10.5 followers on TikTok, more than any MLB team, and even the MLB's official account. The team, and even all of the teams in the Banana Bowl, and even the league as well, have been featured by several media such as ESPN, The Wall Street Journal, CNN 10, Sports Illustrated, and 60 Minutes, highlighting its sports entertainment and viral videos. Even ESPN did produce a miniseries against the Bananas in 2022, which it was around the point where the team was preparing to leave the CPL, so thank God for them to produce something like this. Oh, and most interestingly, they have been around in some other form of entertainment, and I just found it a little interesting though, as yeah, I just started getting interested in this ever since Coach Max somehow appeared in an Almost Athletes episode. Oh wait, this is where I stop. Okay, let's just end it from here. So, okay. So, what I have to say. So, conclusion, okay, and I'm kind of a bit serious about this. So, as of right now, the Bananas are still, of course, thriving and still playing, of course, in the league that they have made, of course. And they're still striving and still popular today, still highlighting their viral sports entertainment throughout, of course. And they're still putting fans first, of course, the entertainment that they deserve, especially with Jesse still leading the team. They're still going strong, and even its fiercest rivals in the league, including the Party Animals, are still drumming as well. Even so, that the organization still will thrive despite the fatal flaws, I guess. But yeah, even so, that it's still unpopular today. I'm still really proud of what they have done. So yeah, needless to say that the legacy of the Bananas may still carry on, even so that it inspired other people, of course. And with that, I guess we're gonna stop my own take on where the Bananas have been through. So yeah, so let's just make my own conclusion here. So needless to say, the Bananas have done exactly as what they have expected, and over the past 10 years they have thrived successfully for the fans and financially as well, which does it great for the city of Savannah, which makes sense because, well, things have gone bananas for me especially as well. So yeah, I've gained interest in that particular team ever since, I guess, around the time where the 2026 season draft or opening night is about to happen, of course. And I started making that interest when somehow Coach Wack appeared in an Almost Athletes episode. And somehow Jude Pepix were also a fan of the Bananas as well. Even so that they even did a Squad Games episode and somehow made an appearance in the biggest Banana Bowl game ever by attendance, which was at College Station just over the past weekend, but as of the time of recording though. But yeah, needless to say, this was a wild ride for me, especially working so hard at finding resources or anything sources that I could find in this video. It's such a big hassle. I started working on this in March, and now with the Bananas are about to celebrate their 10th anniversary of playing their first game in the historic Grayson Stadium this June. What needs to say, I'm so packed at what to expect for the next couple of years of Bananas have well planned, of course, and on their future games as well. So, needless to say, this was a very packed video essay that I have done. Even still, it was shorter than my previous video essay. It is what it is. So, with that matter, I guess we're gonna stop from here, okay? And I'm so tired right now, so with that matter, that's it for my Savannah Bananas video essay, which I explained the history of the bananas and where they have been doing today. And yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, and I also did explain a little bit of Banana Bowl and of course the league itself, so you get the point. But in case you forgot about the roster, I just wanted to show you. So this was the roster of this year. You can tell you that this roster is interesting though. We still have Kelsey Whitmore, which is nice. And we still have Stilts, which is interesting for some reason. And we somehow also got most interesting stuff, of course. Tyler Gillum was the head coach ever since 2018. And we got some of the active roster people, including Austin Drury, Kyle Lewis, Danny Hosley, Dan Obers, KJ Jackson, and Bill Leroy, which is also iconic. And even Robert Anthony Cruz, Reese Alexiades, and somehow the quote-unquote Keystone State connection, which I think was made thanks to Ryan Cox and Alex Ziegler, I guess. But yeah, needless to say, this was a very packed video essay that I've been working on. But yeah, needless to say, this was interesting though. But as we know, this was very packed as much of the bananas, of course. But yeah, like I said, that's basically it, because I have worked so hard to get along with it. But yeah, with that matter, I have a couple of plans that I have been working on for the next couple of videos. As we know, some of the time I'm recording, I'm about to get along as I have to work to get along with my next 2 reviews, which are already out of the channel as of the time you're watching this video right now. But anyways, I have some other videos that I have planned for the next couple of weeks, as my time in school will begin as of the time I'm uploading this video. So yeah, I might not be active throughout my school days, but needless to say that I have a couple of videos that I have to work on. I might plan for a Descendants Iceberg video, and then I might plan for a review of the first 4 Descendants films, and then also I might do my review on Wicked Wonderland and also Camp Block 3 as well. Plus, I will be doing more video essays very soon, so stay tuned for that. But more info on that will be coming out very soon as my school plans are getting a little headed here. So for now, I guess we're gonna stop from here. So with that matter, that's it for my Savannah Bananas video essay, where I explained the history of Savannah Bananas from where they started in the CPL to where they are today, playing in the Banana Bowl Championship League with 5 other teams, and that including the Party Animals, Texas Tailgaters, the Firefighters, the local Beach Coconuts, and the Indianapolis Clowns. And they're still driving today, of course, as we know it. So, for those who are wondering, this video was also made to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Bananas as well. So, happy 10th anniversary, so you get the point. But anyways, if you wanted to see more of me, then please like this video, comment if you have any suggestions what should I do next, subscribe to Duncan Nichols and to my Eurovision channel, ESCDN, where I post Eurovision content, and hit that bell and set it to all, so you'll be notified for all the videos where I'm going to upload here. You can also check out my socials on my link tree, linked in the channel's homepage as well. You can also find, of course, as I said, my other socials. With that matter, my name is Duncan Nichols. Thank you for watching, and go bananas, I guess.